Hello and welcome to a new video, and we're almost at the end of VLOGMAS. We're so close. But today I'm calling myself out here. I'm bringing you my end of year Netgalley check-in, which I'm going to regret because it's not a small number. Also, just like to point out, my jumper is missing an eye. It's really annoying. I don't know what happened, and I need to get some more eyes so I can sew another eye back on. Anyway, we're not here to talk about my one-eyed jumper. We're here to talk about Netgalley. I am really bad for requesting books and then getting accepted and then either reading them and not actually reviewing them straight away, or just not reading them. And you're going to see how bad that's got. So I have a total of 40 books on my Netgalley. 40. Now, of those 40, one of them is an audiobook. However, it is an audiobook of one of the e-arcs I was granted. I was granted it in both e-arc and audiobook. So there's that. And of that 40, I have read 6 but not reviewed them yet. So they're still on there, but I've done the first step. I've done the reading part. I've just got to write the reviews. So I'm going to go through the ones I have read, and then we're going to go through the 33 others. So the ones I have read but not reviewed yet are Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, The Ghost Tree by Christina Henry, Shadowgust by Thomas Taylor, Wendy Darling by A.C. Wise, Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer, and Tinsel by Sibel Pounder. So they're the ones that I have read but not yet reviewed. Now we're gonna, it's a double-sided page. Now we're gonna go through the ones that haven't even read yet. So I'm not gonna talk synopsis. I'm literally gonna give you the title of the book and the date it was released. Now this is the release date based on what Goodreads says. I know at least for the later few, there are a few where Goodreads says the wrong date. But anyway, we're going to go by what Goodreads said. So, first up, we have the oldest one, which is the worst one because I've had it since, I don't even know how long I've had it, but it is Catfishing on Catnet by Naomi Kritzer. And this was released in November of 2019. 2019. Next up is one I have in physical format, and that is The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave. This came out in February of 2020, so this is nearly 2 years old. I've only had the physical copy since some point this year, I think. I decided to buy the hardback because whilst I have all of Kieran Millward Hargrave's books in paperback, I did not like the cover design of the paperback for this, so I got in there quick with buying the hardback before it was no longer available. So yeah, there's that. Then we have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. This was actually approved on Netgalley for me. And then Tor ever so kindly sent me the physical hardback finished copy of this, and I still haven't read this. And this also came out in February 2020. We're going to talk at the end about how I'm going to try and actually get my life together and actually read these books. But we'll get to that at the end because we're only on book 3. Next up we have Pretending by Holly Bourne. This one came out in April of 2020. Now, Holly Bourne is one of my favourite YA contemporary authors, and this is her, I believe, second adult book. I still have not read her first adult book, and I've been kind of putting it off because it intimidates me because I'm used to her writing YA and I'm not sure if I'm going to like her adult stuff. So that's why I've been putting this and her other adult off. Still not a good enough excuse because I literally requested this. Next up we have Storybound by Emily McKay. This one came out in May of 2020. There's a lot of 2020 releases here. Let's not talk about it. Yeah, so this came out in the May of 2020. I have no excuse for this one. Then we have Of Silver and Shadow by Jennifer BOURNE, which also came out in May of 2020. Again, I have absolutely no excuse for not reading this one because it sounds really good, which is why I requested it. Next up, we have The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. This is the second book in the Beautiful series. As you can see, I have it. It came out in July of 2020. I'm actually about a month away from receiving the third book in this series. These are the Fairy Loot editions. So obviously I got the first book in Fairy Loot, loved it. I was really excited for this and then just haven't picked it up, and I don't know why. So there's that. At least I have read the first book in this series though. We're going to get to that later. Next up, we have The Black Kids by Christina Hammond Reed. This one came out in August of 2020. Again, absolutely no excuse. Next up, we have the one that I have both the ebook and the audiobook on Netgalley, and that is The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This one came out in August of 2020. The thing is, I really, even less of a so, have an excuse for this one because I literally have the audiobook. Literally have the audiobook. I don't know. I don't know. Next up, we have How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. Now, this one apparently came out in August of 2020, but I think this one came out in 2019, but on Netgalley it says 2020. I requested this because I wanted to get into reading more non-fiction, and I read another non-fiction around about the same time I requested this, and I was like, yep, that's it for me for non-fiction, and then I haven't got to this one. I do want to read it still. It's just a case of non-fiction intimidates me because I'm not a fan of non-fiction. I read to escape real crappy life, but I do want to read it, so I'm hoping I can find a readathon somewhere that will have a prompt for non-fiction and basically force me to read it because I need to read it. Next, we have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, which also came out in August 2020. Next up, we have Court of Lions by Samaya Dowd, which also came out in August 2020. This is actually the sequel to Mirage, which I absolutely loved. And again, do not ask me why I haven't read the sequel when I literally got gifted the e-arc of it. Next up, we have Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and Laura Lamb. I can't tell you why I haven't read this. It also came in an Illuma crate, but this, so I got granted it on Netgalley, and then the publisher Galance also sent me a physical copy, and then I got it in Illuma crate. I have since unhauled my Illuma crate version, but because I wasn't a massive fan of the pink that they used, but I really like the original cover, so I decided to keep the Galance one that they gifted me, in the hopes that I would read it quicker having a physical copy, but clearly hasn't happened because this came out in August 2020. Next up, we have Breathless by Jennifer Niven. This one came out in September 2020, and I honestly cannot tell you why I requested this one, because when I requested it, I was like, oh yeah, I read one of this author's other books and liked it. Then I realised this author's other book was All the Bright Places, and that book was just not as good as I actually thought it was. Like, when I thought back to the book, I was like, this wasn't actually that great a book. But now I'm stuck with the e-arc, and if I want that 100% on Netgalley, I'm going to have to give it a go. Go me. Next up, we have The Reckless Afterlife of Harriet Stoker by Lauren James. This one came out in, again, September 2020. And again, I don't know why I've put this off. I actually originally put this off because I wanted to read it during spooky season, and I completely forgot about it last year. And then I completely forgot about it this year, because the thing with ebooks is they're out of sight and out of mind. So I forgot about them. And I don't really want to then say, oh, I'll save it for next spooky season, because we all know I'm going to forget it again then. So I'm going to try and read it before spooky season and just screw spooky season, apparently. Next up, we have a Mythopedia, which it says it's by Good Wives and Warriors. It's basically a picture book. It's an encyclopedia, essentially. It's got lots of illustrations. It's got lots of facts, and I've heard a few people rave about this, especially if you're a beginner into learning about different mythology, and it doesn't just focus on one, it takes you around the world essentially. So I'm really interested in this, but it's a case of trying to get it onto my iPad so I can read it on my iPad, because I'm not going to be able to read it on my phone or my Kindle, because I'm going to need full colour to see the illustrations as well. So I kind of have a good reason for this. And I don't know if I said, but this also came out in September 2020. Next up, we have To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This one also came out in September 2020. Gonna be completely honest, this one intimidates me a little bit. I am not sure if I'm gonna like it. I don't know why I requested it. There was just a lot of hype about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. I don't know. I don't know. Next up, we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which came out in, you guessed it, September 2020. The sequel for this is out. Have I read the first one? Clearly not. It's on this list. I really want to read it because even from the blurb, it screamed Knives Out to me. And then the people I've seen that have read it said it gives off big Knives Out vibes, which, if you don't know what Knives Out is, it is a movie with Chris Evans, and it's a really good movie. Like, I watched it for Chris Evans and ended up actually really enjoying the film itself. So yeah. Next up, we have The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix. This is one that, obviously, I love Garth Nix's writing, and this one sounded really good, so I was like, yeah, I'll read it. And then I just didn't get around to it, and I've been reading other Garth Nix books, which aren't NetGalley arcs. And then this edition came in a Lit Joy in September last year, I think it was. So yeah, I have a nice, pretty edition, and I still haven't read it. Story of my life, apparently. Oh, I forgot to say, this one also came out in September 2020. The next one is Poisoned by Jennifer Donnelly, which came out in October 2020. I actually was granted the e-arc a couple of years back of Jennifer Donnelly's other book, Stepsister, which is a Cinderella retelling. Poisoned is a Snow White retelling. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Snow White, but I like dark retellings, so that's why I requested this, and I did really like the writing style in Stepsister. So that's why I got this, and then I've just forgotten about it. The next one is The Chalet by Catherine Cooper. This one also came out in October 2020. This is a thriller, I think. Can't even remember. And I remember when I requested this, I was like, I want to get more into thrillers. Have I read a thriller since? No. Moving on. Next, we have Secret Santa by Andrew Schaefer, which came out in November 2020. And this is actually on my TBR for this month. So, because I wanted to read it at either Halloween or Christmas. So when I didn't get around to it at Halloween, I shoved it on my Christmas TBR. Whether I get around to it is another matter, but I'm hoping I do. But this is a Christmas horror, which, yes. Next up, we have The Island by C.L. Taylor. This one came out, it's a bit of a jump. This came out in January of 2021. So we're now on to 2021. We're still going though. We are still going. So I have read one of C.L. Taylor's books before. I believe The Island is one of her YA books. I think she's written 2 YA thrillers. And this is her most recent one. But I read one of her adult thrillers, and oh my God, it was so good. So good. It was called Sleep. If you've not read it, read it. It's so good. So yeah, when I saw this was on NetGalley, I thought I'd request it, and then I didn't read it. The next one is The Archive of the Forgotten by A.J. Hackwith, which came out in February of 2021. This is actually a sequel. So I was gifted a physical copy from the publisher of the first book, which was The Library of the Unwritten, and this was like 2 years ago when it first came out, and I really enjoyed that. So when I saw that the sequel was on NetGalley, I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna request it. And again, haven't read it because I'm not good at continuing series. You should know this about me by now. Talking of series, We have Namesake by Adrienne Young. This is the Fairy Loot edition that I ordered after I'd been accepted for the Netgalley arc. I haven't read the first book yet. I have the Fairy Loot edition of the first book, and I haven't read that yet. But did I request the sequel? Yes, I did. Am I really hoping I like the first book? Yes, I am. Just wish me luck. Also, this one came out in March 2021. Next, we have The Jane Austen Investigates by Julia Goldin. This one came out in April of 2021. And I believe this is like a middle grade. And obviously, it's like a bit of a twist on Jane Austen. And that was why I requested it, to be honest. Next, we have one of my most anticipated books of 2021, which came out in April, and I haven't read it. We have Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. Nope, still haven't read it. Still haven't read it. Also, that's really annoying. They've put a Love Simon sticker on this. And it's not even a sticker that can come off. Kate in Waiting has nothing to do with Love Simon. Anyway, yeah. Becky Albertalli is an author author for me. So when I saw that the e-arc was on Netgalley, I did actually mean, I intended to read this one before release. But then things happened and I didn't get a chance. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. Next, we have The Shadow in the Glass by JJA Harwood. This, again, was another one I really like the sound of. It's Cinderella retelling, but like a dark twist on it. So I was instantly intrigued. And then it came in a Lit Joy in May. And I still haven't read it. I really need to sort my life out, which is why I'm using this video to call myself out. Also, this came out in May 2021. Forgot to say that. I keep forgetting to say that. Next, we have The Boy Band Mystery by Ava Eldred. This one also came out in May of 2021. Boy Band Murder Mystery. That was literally the only reason that I requested this. I don't even remember the synopsis for this one. The title just drew me in. But I do want to read it, so we'll see. Next, we have Rabbits by Terry Miles. This one came out in June of 2021. I think this is a thriller. I could be wrong. Nothing's really coming to mind apart from I saw a few people. I think Chloe Reads Books read this one. I can't remember if she liked it or not though. Literally every time I think of this book, I just can't remember anything about it. So that's a good sign, but I think it's a thriller. Next, we have Raising Hell by Bryony Pierce. This one also came out in June of 2021. And this is werewolves. Need I say more? This is why I requested it. Why I have not read it yet, I don't know. But we move on. Next up, we have another one of my most anticipated reads of 2021. And that's Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This one actually came out in... I think Netgalley says November, but this actually came out in October, I believe. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, and the Illumicrate edition is just amazing. So yeah, I am hoping to get to this in January, actually. I know I should really start with the ones that have been on here longest, but I just want to read this, and I'm just going to let myself read what I want to read. And then the final book, again, is a very anticipated release for me, and I actually technically already have 2 copies physically of this, and that is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. This one came out in, I believe, October 2021. So I managed to get hold of the US cover because I really do not like the UK cover that has like the white with blue. I don't think it looks right. But I love the US cover, so I managed to get it. But then my mum was like, no, I'm going to get you that for Christmas. So I'm not getting it until Christmas Day. But I pre-ordered the Fairy Loot version, and that did come. So I already have a physical copy. And with this one, I believe it's this one. I'm pretty sure. Was it Little Thieves or Vespertine? I saw a few people saying that the e-arc from Netgalley, the formatting is all off and it's like impossible to read. So that I do actually have a good reason for, but I can't remember if it was Little Thieves or Vespertine. So I've sort of been putting off both of them, even though they're the ones I want to read more than anything from this list. but that's why I've been putting them off. And to be fair, I did only get this like 3 weeks ago, so it's not like I've had this for ages and have still been putting it off. I think I'd already planned my December TBR before I got my November Illumicrate. And with Vespertine, I didn't get my Fairy Loot version until after I'd already done my December TBR. So yeah, but that's it, we're at the end. We're finally at the end. So a little goal of mine is that I want to catch up on the reviews for the ones I have read. I feel like it will be a bit easier to maintain once I've caught up. Also, that if I manage to write them all pretty quickly, that should boost my ratio a nice little amount. I think I'm on 65% at the moment, which isn't too bad actually, considering how much I've got outstanding. But next year, I'm going to talk properly about this in my 2022 goals because it's part of that. But I basically am going to force myself to read at least one a month. And I am, unless it is a release like Defy the Night or Once Upon a Broken Heart where I have to read, I will read it instantly. I'm not going to request anything. I'm going to try, let me rephrase that, I'm going to try not to request anything. But like if, say for example, the sequel to Defy the Night is put on Netgalley, I will be requesting that because I know if I get accepted for it, I'm reading it almost straight away. Because I did that with Defy the Night. But yeah, I just haven't written the review yet. But yeah, I will be forcing myself to pick a few each month to read to try and get through them because it's stressing me out. I see people who have got like 7 on theirs and I'm like, how teach me your ways. But anyway, I hope this video made you feel better about your own Netgalley to be read shelf, because I don't know if anyone's is going to be worse than mine. No, there probably is someone that's going to be worse than mine. I can't be the worst person on here, right? For Netgalley. But I will be making a very conscious effort to read these, review them, and then once I'm caught up and start requesting a bit more regularly, I'm gonna try and make a conscious effort to actually read them when I'm approved for them. And yeah, because I feel really bad on the publishers, on the authors, because you know they're granting me these e-arcs and I'm just not reading them. So I am going to make a very conscious effort to actually sort my life out where e-arcs are concerned. But that is my Netgalley check-in. If you've read any of these books and you think I should prioritise, let me know. I am starting to think about what I want to do in January for my TBR. So get in there if you think I should like read any of these urgently. But I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye.